What is going on, YouTube? I am Jerem here. Today we have the patch 10.3 notes and rundown for you guys. Just going to be kind of giving my opinions on all the changes in the patch and just running through the notes for all you guys to see in case you don't want to read through the notes or in case you haven't seen them or whatever. Today is February 4th. The patch notes came out just a couple hours ago, and this patch 10.3 will be going live on February 5th for everyone to play and enjoy. I've made a video like this for every patch of Season 10 so far. They seem to be doing pretty well. You guys seem to be enjoying them. They seem to be useful and helpful and interesting to people. So we're going to keep going with these until you guys don't like them anymore. So here we go, getting straight into it with patch 10.3. I love what Riot did, adding this thing at the beginning here where they have the little patch highlights. So if any of you are interested in just seeing who got buffed, nerfed, skins, any of that coming out, you can take a look at this stuff real quick. We got Azir, Corki, Ezreal, Gallio, SETT, Yuumi on the buffs, and then we got all these nerf champions, a lot of nerfs on this patch, and then some of the skins coming out. So if you just came here to see who got buffed, who got nerfed, whatever, there you go. There's that. Really nice addition by Riot. But we're just going to get straight into all the nerfs, buffs, changes, and just my opinions on everything that's going to be changing in the game. First up, a champion that a lot of people have been talking about recently, hearing about these big Akali nerfs coming in 10.3, and here they are. Her Q cost has been increased. She's getting increased movement speed in her Shroud. Her R1 is becoming targeted, and her R1 dash distance and target range is being created. I think these are really interesting nerfs. A lot of people think this is really going to gut her. I still think she's going to be playable. She's obviously going to be a lot weaker, and especially in solo queue where her win rates are already pretty low down. But Akali has been so strong, so frustrating to play against. She's pick, ban, and pro right now. People who know Akali and can really perform at a high level on her, the champion's absolutely busted, even though she doesn't do so well in the lower eloads because people just int on her. I think some of these changes are stuff that people have been asking for a long time. The R1 being targeted, that's going to make her a lot less safe. She's not just going to have a free get out of jail, jump away card from ganks and bad fights and stuff. I think that'll be super nice. Also, her Q cost going up, I think, will be really nice because right now, especially in the top lane and in the mid lane with assassins and stuff, in all melee matchups, she can just spam her Q, and it's so hard to trade against her early game because she just has the energy to keep spamming Q pretty much on cooldown, and increasing that energy cost will be really nice. A lot of people think Akali is going to be just guttered after this, and if she is, she'll for sure get compensation buffs on like 10.4, 10.5, so we'll just have to wait and see, but her win rate's definitely going to be going down pretty big, and I'm sure her play rate's going to drop a lot as well because a lot of people seem really upset about these changes. Next up, Aphelios, he's just getting a range on his sniper rifle. Currently on 10.2, the range is infinite. It's just a global shot with that sniper rifle. It's getting a range of 1800. I think that makes a lot of sense, especially because he can like stun. He can do so much with that sniper rifle. I don't think it makes sense to just have an infinite range. 1800 is still a really massive range. Still going to have a lot of range and effectiveness on that ability, but I think having the infinite range was just really stupid, and one of the few things that is really stupid about this champion. It's not going to be a huge nerf. I don't think it's going to make his win rate go down or anything like that, but he'll just feel a little bit better to play against. Next up is Azir, getting a base mana increase and an increase in the number of soldiers on his ultimate. I think it's a very slight buff. I don't think the increase of the number of soldiers on his ultimate is going to be that big of a change. Mana is obviously always going to be really nice, especially on someone who's trying to scale up. You have the mana to stay in lane in the early game and just keep harassing people and stuff, but pretty insignificant in my opinion. Corki, these buffs are actually pretty big. Corki's getting a W damage per second ratio increase, burn duration increase, and it now slows. And being a ranged champion, getting a slow on his W, that's actually going to be huge. When you're ranged, getting a slow, that just allows you to get like 1 or 2 more autos off, and that's really going to increase your damage. It's going to set up better for ganks. It's going to set up better for team fights and stuff. I think it's going to be a kind of a pretty significant buff to Corki, who I'm sure we'll see him coming back in high elo and competitive very soon. Kind of interesting that they buff Azir and Corki on the same patch. I know last year we went through stretches where these were the two meta mid laners, and it turns into really boring, long, drawn-out lane phases where the champions don't really interact with each other much. So I'm surprised they buffed them both in the same patch, but I think Corki got a way better end of the deal than Azir did here. But Azir was already a fringe competitive pick, so I guess that does make sense. Dianna Nerfs, people are really excited about these. Base mana decrease and her W damage per orb decrease. I don't think the W damage per orb is going to be that big of a deal. The base mana could hurt her for sure. Right now, she doesn't really have mana problems, especially in the early lane phase. Obviously, she builds into row, and then she's fine. But if you can create some mana problems for her early, that is just going to obviously make her significantly weaker, especially in the early game, give you more options to punish her. She'll have to take bad recall, stuff like that. So I think it will be a pretty significant nerf, especially in the early game. But since she goes Roa, she'll still be fine. She's still going to be very, very strong. And the W, I don't think that's much of anything. She's like barely losing any damage, and it's not like a main damaging ability or anything like that. Ekko, they're nerfing his jungle a little bit. The passive monster stack damage has been decreased, going from 200% to 150%. Ekko, super, super strong in jungle and mid, more so in solo queue than in professional. Also really strong as a flex pick, so you never know if it's mid or jungle. They want to just push him into the mid lane a little bit more, I guess. They're just going to be lowering his clear speed, make him a little bit more unreliable as a jungler. I think that's a fine nerf. I think he's still kind of overpowered since he's so good in 2 lanes and so annoying and safe and stuff. I think they could have nerfed him a little bit harder, but that's what we got for right now. Ezreal, base mana growth and attack speed growth have been increased. We've seen a rise in play of like a lethal tempo Ezreal. People are starting to build attack speed more and more on him. So this attack speed growth increase actually could be pretty substantial, pretty interesting. Ezreal, once he lost Klepto, he's kind of been in the gutter for a little while. Solo queue win rates especially have been really, really low. So these buffs will definitely be welcome. I know Ezreal's a champion that a lot of people really like to play, even when he's trash. So I'm tired of getting the just terrible Ezreals on my team. So I'm definitely down for some buffs. Gallio, he's getting a Q tornado duration and damage tick increase. I think Gallio isn't even that bad right now. I think he's pretty strong, so getting some buffs. You could see him coming back in the mid lane meta. The duration and the ticks just going to give him a little bit better wave clear, a little bit better poke. Nothing too significant, but I don't think he's a guy who needs a ton of buffs to really become a strong meta mid laner. Leona, these are nerfs that I'm really excited about. Leona getting her W and E damage decrease. Obviously her E isn't like a huge damaging ability, so that's not really a huge thing, but her W, the fact that it gives damage reduction and does so much damage, it's kind of overtuned. Leona, the fact that she can 1v1 mid laners who are behind, they can 1v1 AD carries. So many supports are so strong right now, and with Aftershock she just becomes unkillable. With Stoneplate she becomes unkillable. Supports are really overtuned. The support item changes just gave a huge buff to so many supports. They can do a ton of damage. I'm definitely down for most support champions losing some damage. So I think that is a pretty good nerf. Misfortune, getting her base attack speed growth decrease. Misfortune, she's really strong. She's been strong for a couple patches now. She's not really one that uses a ton of attack speed, so I don't know about the attack speed growth decrease being a huge change to her. She's still going to be a really strong lane bully, but it'll make her a little weaker as we scale into the game. I don't think that's much. I don't think there's much to talk about there. Rumble, I think these nerfs are really nice. Base stats are getting rounded. That's not really anything. And a W bonus movement speed and shield decrease. The big thing I think here is that the shield size is being decreased. Rumble, it's so hard to trade with him in lane because W is such a low cooldown and such a big shield that you go to take any trade with him, he just Ws and shoots you out with fire and you just lose the trade. So I think definitely a really nice nerf, especially early on in the lane phase, giving you a chance to punish him and stuff before he just becomes a monster in the mid game. I really like the shield nerf there, and he's been a really strong mid laner the last couple patches, so that should be nice, kind of getting him in line with everybody else. Sejuani buffs, he now has bonus attack speed at level 1. Frost armor has been removed when damaged from all monsters and champions. So people are kind of torn on this. They're calling it a buff, but it is a buff and a nerf a little bit because he has the frost armor removal, but his base stats are going up. He's going to just have a way better clear starting for level 1 throughout the whole game. It'll be interesting to see. He's another champion that people really don't like to see, especially in pro play because he has so much CC, so kind of boring, not exciting. But he's been terrible in solo queue and in professionals recently, so I'm sure there'll be some more Sejuani buffs coming soon. Sona, they are nerfing her as an AD carry. She's really strong as an AD carry right now, but they want her to be played primarily as a support. So they're changing just kind of how the souls drop, the miss wraiths, they drop from AD carry compared to support. They want AD carry to get less souls, support to get more souls. So she has 25% on minions Sona doesn't kill and a 1.67% chance on cannon minions that Sona does kill. So she's not getting them from cannons very often, when before she had a 100% chance to get them on the cannon minions that she did kill. So that's kind of promoting her not killing the cannons and not killing the minions and becoming more of the support, and then a little bug fix for her. SETT, definitely been looking for some SETT nerfs. Definitely excited about this. He's so easy to play, and he's been so strong in solo queue, and he's even been starting to carry some pro games now as well. He's getting a base health regen decrease, W cooldown increase, and base damage decrease later. I think that's so nice. The W has almost no cooldown, especially as you get CDR and scale into the game. and it does so much damage, especially the true damage, kind of disgusting. My problem a little bit with it too is how big of a shield it can give you, but if it is on a higher cooldown, it's not doing as much damage, and the shield won't be as annoying because you won't just have like 2 or 3 shields per team fight with how low the cooldown can get. So I think SETT is a really cool champion. He isn't like completely overpowered, broken, but his W is definitely overtuned, so I really like these nerfs. Sona is getting the E self movement speed decrease. Last patch, you got this massive E self movement speed increase. I think it's still going to be in buff overall between the 2 patches. They're trying to nerf her a little bit. She's been seeing play in top lane, mid lane, and as a very strong support. Her E, the movement speed on herself, it can keep her so safe because she's just flying around. Even if she gets into a bad spot, she just runs away. So I think by seeing that decrease, hopefully she'll become a little more in line. I think she's still going to be viable as a top laner and mid laner though, because partly her poke and damage she's able to do so much and be pretty safe. But we'll see about that. Yuumi, she's getting a Q empowered damage decrease. It now considers the target's health. Cost is now flat. W no longer goes on cooldown from silences. And the E base heal decreased, but the ratios are increased. Overall, this is going to be some buffs to Yuumi. She is she's such a weird champion. She's not like really any other champion in the game. They're having a tough time balancing her when she gets put on certain people. Sometimes she's super weak in solo queue. Sometimes she's super overpowered with certain people that she's with. They've been changing her so much with her release. It's honestly kind of hard to keep up with, but there's all the numbers there. I don't think she'll ever be too popular in solo queue because sitting inside someone is honestly kind of boring. But she is getting a large amount of buffs on this patch. We have like 4 different things getting changed. So maybe she'll start to see a little more pro play. I think she's always a champion that's going to be stronger in coordinated play than in solo queue. But we'll see how that goes. The jungle changes, they're doing a bunch of jungle XP changes pretty much from like minute 4 to 14 or something like that. Jungle's getting XP increases. You see all these clips of junglers being like level 11 when mid lane's like level 16, and then it's just so easy for the mid laner to just one-shot you, especially if it's like a Syndra or an assassin or something like that, as we're seeing a ton of those champions in solo queue. So I think the junglers definitely needed this XP increase. Hopefully things will get better for them. It might change how you do your jungle routes and stuff like that a little bit, but you can see all the change up on the screen. They're making Krugs a lot more valuable because people weren't even taking Krugs or anything recently. And yeah, so I don't know. It's a bunch of really complicated changes. I don't really know how it's all going to work out right now just by looking at the numbers. But as people start to play, as people start to try different things out, try different routes out, we'll know more about this. It should be better though, because it is an XP buff for junglers. Then we have some visual effects and sound effects updates to Annie, Malphite, and Nautilus. That should be pretty interesting. And then just a bunch of bug fixes and the skins. So that is it, guys. That is my patch 10.3 notes and rundown. Giving all my opinions, going through all the patch notes so you guys can know what's going on, so you guys can stay up to date on the game. Because if you want to win games in solo queue, and I want you guys to do that, I want you guys to be climbing, getting better at the game always, you need to know what's going on. You need to stay up to date on the latest information, champions, meta, all that stuff. So I think it's really important to go through the patch notes every 2 weeks. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, leave a comment down below. What change are you most excited about? Buff, nerf, whatever. Yeah, subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. We got tons of guides, strategies, League of Legends content, all that great stuff coming to you guys in the very near future. Thanks a lot. Hopefully I see you guys in the next video, and until then, peace.